Welcome to the Budget Mom YouTube channel. I'm Kamika Love from thebudgetmom.com, and this is Ryan, my assistant. Today we're going to be going over our full July budget recap. Everything that happened in July, where our dollars went.
Yes.
Yours looks pretty.
I know, I did pretty well.
And some major changes that I made to my budget. All right, so let's talk July numbers. For me, I did very well. However, I did have some major changes going on, which I'm going to be showing you here in just a minute. Started with our expense trackers. Now let me get to my where did my money go? Okay, on my where did my money go worksheets, I was off by $6.
I was off by 80 cents.
Hey, that's really good.
I know, that is really good. Compare. I'm
really
usually
good.
like 20 bucks or more.
Did anything pop up in the month of July for you?
Yeah, actually. So the biggest one I'd say is my boyfriend and I decided to buy a new couch. I know. I know. We've had the same one ever since, almost 5 years ago now. And we saw little screws were starting to poke out the armrest, and we have a dog, so we were like, let's just go bite the bullet and buy a new one. So luckily, I was able to put quite a bit of money towards that. Other than that, nothing really too
So how did you
crazy.
How did you finance, or what did you do to buy the couch?
I ended up just cash flowing it, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, just because I didn't have.
You bought the couch in cash?
I paid.
Oh, you split.
400. Yeah. We split, and we only bought one, so we want like a set, but it's like $2,000 total, so we're just kind of buying it in chunks.
Love that.
So we bought one of the couches, and I put $443 towards it. My boyfriend paid the rest of it. So then coming up, you guys will see me pay for the other half.
I love that, and I love how you're tackling it like in sections.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, and then we want a bed, so we have a list.
There you go. You have the I want list.
Yeah, we have the list.
I think that even if when you own a home, or if you're in an apartment, you have those things where it's
for sure.
And I think too, with COVID, people are realizing that list even more.
I know, and that's so true. That's so true.
It's because you're spending more time in your space and in your zones.
That's literally what happens.
And you start thinking like,
this doesn't feel homey.
Yeah,
is
you
our
look
thought.
around and you're like, well, now is the time for me to start tackling either projects, or updating design.
Totally,
in a room.
That's exactly what happened.
I kind of find myself even here doing that.
Right,
like,
that's exactly what happened.
And even with I want to tackle this project, you still end up spending money.
For sure.
You know, even if it's a DIY project, you're still spending money, I think. So tackle it in bite-sized chunks. I love that. Save and then spend. Save what you can, and that's what you can afford. Be a patient spender.
Exactly. And I was still able to put 17% of my income towards debt. So I was still able to put additional towards debt and do that. So I was really happy with how
you got a want and you paid off debt.
And I was able to put $500 towards going to see my mom at some point, because I know that's coming
gosh.
up. She lives in the Midwest, so I have to. Yeah, so it was a good month, I'd say. Now looking back at it, I didn't really realize that I had all this going on.
Yeah. So isn't that funny?
Yeah.
How that happens? Okay, for me, nothing crazy. I did go a little bit crazy on my pets, and we're going to be talking about that because that is a change that I did make back in July. I was able to save 42% of my income.
Wow.
So it wasn't as good as the month before where I saved 50% of my income, but I still
That's still
did
a lot.
So before we move on to showing you our Where Did Our Money Go worksheets, let's talk very quickly, and this is something I like to do during these videos, closing out your budget. Now, a lot of the time when you see us here on YouTube, the first thing that pops into your mind is that's too much work.
Right.
It takes too much time. It's overly complicated. But here's the truth. It really isn't. This is a crucial step in your budgeting process that needs to be there. I feel like it's one of those things where it can't get pushed off or it can't be forgotten about, because without doing this step, you're doing all the hard work without following through.
It's kind of blind, I feel.
Yeah, it's like you started something and you didn't fully finish it.
Right.
And not only that, it's really hard to make changes in the future if you don't know what to change.
Right, exactly.
And if you aren't looking at your spending, if you aren't looking at what you are doing in the months, it's easy to track your spending. Okay, you write it down on a piece of paper. What's hard though is actually listening to what your spending is telling you. Mm-hmm. So closing out your budget is essentially looking at your spending for that month, the month that you are closing out, and seeing where your dollars went. Mm-hmm. But not only that, it's looking for areas where you can improve, and it's also making sure that you are reaching any financial goals, but it's also looking at making sure your spending is aligning with those financial goals and the things that you are trying to accomplish, the life that you are fighting for, that thing on the other side. That's what this does. That's why it's so important. So let us show you our Where Did Your Money Go worksheets. So these are we're going to start with the monthly budget category breakdown. Now, when you're seeing this, you might be asking, where did we even come up with this stuff? Where did this come from? So I'm just going to flip very quickly. It all came from here, our expense trackers. Now, I'm a manual tracker, which means I bring pen to pencil. Everything I do is manual. I write things down. So this is my expense tracker for cash. This is my expense tracker for my checking account. So we also use the highlighter method, which means we highlight like transactions with our colors. So for instance, my food category is highlighted in this light blue. My utilities is light pink, and so on. So that's how we get to here. Now, essentially, the Where Did My Money Go monthly budget category breakdown is all about taking what you wrote down on your expense trackers or tracking your spending, and it's going to be a bad word, but regurgitating it into an organized way of understanding it. So it's where exactly did your dollars go? Okay, this is organizing your finances. And part of that organization means breaking your spending down into categories for your budget. Right. So for me, now my monthly income, I had unused cash from June of $1,230. That's my starting balance. And then I had incoming income of $5,513. Now, incoming income, for me, Chris gave me his $600 for the month. I also, you can see, I used Costco sinking fund. I used a sinking fund for Chris's birthday. I used a sinking fund for James's birthday, and I used a sinking fund for 4th of July.
Wow, July's a big month.
So July is a huge month for me. Two big, huge birthdays, and then 4th of July, which all of them I was prepared with cash because I'm saving a little bit every single month.
Right.
So that's where my income, so my total monthly income was $6,743. Of that, I was able to save $2,864, 42% of my income, which I think was my biggest success with July, because I really do challenge myself a lot to save. And when I say I'm off by $6, it just essentially means I use a zero-based budget. Income minus expenses should be zero. Now, in July, I did have some unused cash sitting in my cash envelopes that I rolled into August or sitting in my checking account. I had $985 that I moved into August. But all in all, I mean, if it's in green, I was under budget. And if I was in red, I was over budget. These are my tracking period limits for my categories, meaning I just have, for me, I track monthly. Yeah. So I have a monthly budget for those categories and how much I spent here. But all in all, I didn't have any huge surprises except for I spent a little more by a lot more in my household. And then we're going to be talking about my pets. So if we go back to my budget very quickly, this is what I was dealing with.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I decided to use and start a Chewy subscription, which means that every single month I'm getting my dog food, my cat food, and my cat litter now from Chewy.com, because it's actually going to save me money every month to do that.
Nice.
So now going forward, you'll see I have a Chewy monthly expense. So that's my monthly budget category breakdown. Where did my dollars go as far as my budget categories? Ooh, I like how you highlighted this.
Thanks. I tried something new.
Yeah, I like that.
So like I said, my month wasn't really like too out of the ordinary. My starting balance was $1,388. Incoming income was about $3,300. Now, like Nico, I did have some other income. Right here. Mm-hmm. My boyfriend and I went to Seattle for, I want to say we went for 4th of July. And we spent about $200, so he gave me $100. So
perfect.
That was counted in that. But other than that, I mean, I stayed under food, which is a big win, just because that's one that I really struggle with. Like I said, I was still able to put 17% of my income towards debt. It was lower than usual, but that's just because
the couch.
Yeah, the savings you can see is now up to 29%. So
wow,
just kind of swapped.
Yeah, and that might happen one month.
Right.
But it's aligning with what's important to you right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is a true. I mean, what we're doing here is a reflection of your real life.
Exactly.
Which means it's never going to be the same. It's always going to be changing and being different.
For sure.
I love that. And I love how you're doing both. You're paying off debt and you're saving.
Yeah.
Now, would you say that you and your boyfriend, that you live together, you're not married,
right? Would
you say that you split your expenses usually in half like that?
Yeah, I would say so. Like food, we split in half. He pays for his own gas. Household just kind of gets lumped into his food. Mm-hmm. So like we alternate weeks is kind of how we tackled that. We're not too like stingy. Like say if we were to go out to eat and I were to pay, I wouldn't be like, Cody, give me $10, you know?
Right.
We're not
or like
too stingy.
You pay next time.
Right. But I mean, for the most part, we keep all of our expenses separately. Like this insurance, yeah. Everything's separate.
So you have your bills,
right.
You do your own finances, but as far as expenses that you pay together, it's pretty much split in half.
Exactly.
Okay. So the next worksheet that we like to look at is our monthly debt and savings breakdown. This is the worksheet that's going to tell you if your spending is aligning with your financial goals. Now, I don't have debt, so my only thing is savings. Now, I was able to save $2,864. That's great to know. However, what did I save for? So I saved for sinking funds, landscaping, my 2020 savings challenge, my $5 savings challenge, my $5.29, and then my investment account. The top three were sinking funds, landscaping, and my $5.29. If you were to ask me, Mika, what are your savings priorities? What are the three things that are most important to you? In my spending or where I'm throwing my money shows that. Yep. So 50% went towards sinking funds, which is just saving a little bit every single month for future holidays and events. And then the next big one is landscaping which has become, for me, one of my biggest priorities. So it's starting that transition into that.
Okay, so for me, like I said earlier, I was able to put 17% of my income towards debt, which was about $811. This was my minimum car payment, and then my minimum for my student loan is $25, so that's where all my additional money went towards that specific debt.
So Ryen graduated, and she has not started that repayment plan yet. It hasn't started. So usually you have about a 6-month period after you've graduated to repay your student loans when that process starts. She's not there yet. She just graduated. But she is still throwing extra money to start that process.
Yes, that's correct. And then as far as savings go, I was able to put 29%, $39 towards sinking funds. I did put an extra $300 in my emergency fund.
That is so good.
Just for peace of mind. I know, things have just, I just rather have it in there just in case. I saved $78 from the savings challenge.
Couch.
Like I said, couch, car maintenance, and then my mom, like I said, lives in the Midwest, so I just decided, since I had the money this month, or last month, just to put it there, because I know I'm going to go see her at some point this year.
That's huge. Now, looking at your percentages, your biggest one.
Yep.
This month was
Right.
throwing money to go see your mom.
Yep.
Then the couch. Then your emergency fund.
Yep.
Would you say to you that's
For sure.
the priorities?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, car maintenance, I only ever do $20 a month just because I just got the car and I have like a certain amount of free oil changes, so I'm not really having to spend too much on it.
See, now, Ryan, this car maintenance fund is considered a sinking fund.
Yes.
It's $20 a month towards that goal.
Right.
If
right.
you ever need the money for your car maintenance.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I have a car maintenance sinking fund. But what I do is I have so many different sinking funds.
Oh, yeah, you just lump them all.
I lump them together into one category for analyzing anyways,
Right.
into one category called sinking funds.
Right, okay.
So we do things a little bit differently there.
Yep.
Now, with your debt, most of it went towards your car loan.
Right, and that's, I mean, that's my minimum payment, and that's incredibly high, so that's why it took up most of that percentage.
What is
but
your priority when it comes to your debt?
Definitely my school loan. It
student
used to
loans?
be my car loan, but this specific student loan has a higher interest rate than my car does.
Oh,
And I
okay.
just kept on watching it grow, so.
Yep, and
I
that's
just
what
wanted to
happens.
start tackling that,
That's what
yeah.
happens with the student loans. You know, I was on income-based repayment plan for my student loans. 90% of the time, I had student loans. And I remember every year, it went from $30,000 student loans. The next year was $32,000.
I know, it's crazy.
Then it was $34,000.
Oh my gosh.
Because with income-based repayment, you're not even making enough to cover the interest. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, right.
And even if you're not on income-based repayment, if you're not watching your interest rates on your student loans,
they can really
they
take off.
can- they
and that's
can
kind of what
grow.
happened with this one.
yeah, they can grow. It's like, oh, you're trying to decrease your student loans. You next time you look at it, it's grown by $100.
Right, or you're not really worried about it because you're in school and
Yeah, I get it. Okay, so the next and last one that we look at is the monthly spending comparison. Now, what does this worksheet tell us? You should be setting and giving yourselves goals and challenges along your financial journey. Okay, month to month, you should be challenging yourself and noticing areas in your finances where you can do better. Things that you can tweak and perfect to basically reach your ultimate outcome, whether that's pay off debt, save money, whatever.
Right.
So for me, one of my biggest ones we're comparing June to July here. One of the biggest ones I had for me was to decrease my food cost. I didn't do it. I was still over $64 in July than I was in June. However, that is a win because I was still under my overall food budget.
Yeah, very true.
I also had another goal, which was to figure out my pet expenses. To really, after we got Toby, I never really looked at that hard line for me. What is my budget and what am I going to stick to? I never drew that line in the sand. I completed that. So even though it's not like written down as far as a monthly spending comparison, I still completed that goal.
Right.
Now, if it's in red, I spent more in July than I did in June. And if it's in green, I spent less than. I also had a monthly income change from June. I was decreased by $194 in July. And that's even with me using my sinking funds.
Right.
I think it was mainly because in June I had so much money I rolled over.
That's right, and then you put that towards
In
your
May,
savings.
I rolled over so much unused cash into June, which gave me a much bigger budget.
That's right, I remember that.
Yeah. So other than that though, I mean, I really hit those goals. And look, with this extra space, feel free to write those monthly goals.
Yeah.
You know,
love
like
that.
the food one or wherever you're trying to,
Right.
and really notice trends. You can notice trends month to month in areas of your spending where you can say, okay, I know I want to cut back on that area.
Okay, so for me, I had a increase in income of $608. And like Miko, I think mine was also due to the fact of the amount that I rolled over, either in June or May, whatever it was higher than what it was into July. So it wasn't that my income changed, like my paychecks changed. It was just my starting balance changed. So food, like I said earlier, I actually spent less in July versus June, which is a huge win just because food, like I said, is one of the hardest things to stick to. I did go over in my fun, my house, and my insurance, which I need to look at this and figure out why. I meant to do that when I first noticed it, and now it just reminded me to notice or to check why it went up $37 just because it's pretty consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And then savings. So like I said, savings, in June, I put 24% towards debt, and I just kind of swapped that with my savings in July.
This is a perfect example of if you were just to track your spending, you would have never thought and saw, oh, my car insurance increased from July from June.
Totally. That's such a good point. And I insurance for me is just medical, dental, and my car insurance. So
where did it
always
increase?
Fixed numbers.
Yeah.
So I don't know why.
And now it just reminded you, hey, I need to call and figure that out.
Right.
For a lot of people who aren't actually looking at what their spending is telling you, could have gone years with that increase when it could be something where it's an issue on their end.
Right. Or like an extra fee that they might have tacked on without us knowing.
Which gives you the opportunity to ask questions and say, hey, wait a minute. That's not okay. Fix that.
That's so true.
You know?
Totally.
So these are the 3 worksheets that we go through when we are closing out our budget. So that is our July budget recap. Now, before we get off today, I wanted to for me and Ryan to talk about some of the things that are coming up for the remainder of the year. If you think about it, we have...
We're almost done.
4 months.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's 4 months of 2020.
It's crazy.
I can't believe it. It's nuts. Something really big is coming up for me here. The first Christmas in our new home.
Oh, yeah.
The first Christmas in our new home. With that, though, I have a ton of things that I want to buy.
Oh, for sure.
This is a huge reason why I increased my Christmas sinking fund savings to $2,000 this year. And I hit that goal just last month. It's fully funded. It's ready to go.
Yay.
I've been kind of thinking, people aren't thinking about Christmas, but we should be. Mm-hmm. Okay. I was kind of thinking, when am I going to buy? We want to get a new tree. And this topic of, should we get a real tree or a fake tree?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I decided we're going to get a fake tree. Mm-hmm. It's something that we can reuse every single year.
Right.
So when I'm thinking about my Christmas decorations, I'm thinking of things that I can stow away and bring out for next year without having, in my apartment, I did that and I went 5 Christmases without buying hardly any new Christmas decorations. Yep. So that's what we're going to be doing. That's a huge expense that is coming up. I'm also going to be flying to Arizona in October for a tournament, a baseball tournament. My boyfriend is a pitcher for a local Spokane league, and so we're going to be flying over there for a tournament he was invited to go to, and I'm really excited about that. So that's another big thing by the end of this year. But other than that, it's our first time having Thanksgiving and Christmas here in the new
that's
house.
Going to be so huge.
It's the first time ever that we'll have all the family in one area.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
It's amazing. I'm so excited. So that's what I have coming up, and you'll be seeing what that spending looks like, as far as I will be doing a vacation budget YouTube video coming up here shortly to show you all the different steps and process of what it looks like when I'm budgeting for a vacation and doing that with all cash.
Yep.
What do you have coming up?
Not much, honestly.
It's just getting through 2020.
Literally. That's priority number 1.
Hashtag over it. Over
That's
2020.
So true. But I'm sure, as most of you guys know, like I said earlier, my mom and my brother and my niece now live in the Midwest, and my dad lives in Germany, and I haven't seen him for almost 3 years.
Wow.
So I'm hoping by the end of the year I'll be able to see both of my parents and my brother and my niece. But other than that, if I do end up having to go to Germany, my dad covers those expenses, so I just have to focus on fun money and me going to see my mom.
So that's your big...
Yeah.
That's kind of your
Other than that, not much going on in my life.
Yeah, I know. I think all of us, especially for me, I'm hunkering down.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
We may be in phase 2 and things may be reopened. I'm not treating it that way.
Right, for sure.
I am home most of the time.
Exactly, yeah.
So...
I know, and that's kind of why I feel like I've been putting things off. I have no other way to get, for example, to see my dad other than airplane. I could go drive to see my mom, but I've just been putting it off just because I don't even want to think about it right now.
Traveling right now is a...
Right. And it sucks that my family's so far away, but...
I'm kind of thinking, if people are asking me, am I scared to travel to Arizona with what's going on with COVID?
Yeah.
The great thing is we have an Airbnb.
Oh, nice.
Which means that unless we're at the baseball field or the Airbnb, we're not out.
And I know with airplanes too, like my boyfriend's best friend just came and visited over the weekend from the west side, so he flew over here. And I know that for some airlines, they're completely not booking out that middle seat. So they're also, even on the airplanes, I know that they're taking, that they're taking precautions there. And we have to wear a mask the whole time. But.
Yeah, I mean, we're cooking at the Airbnb. We're not going out to eat. A bunch of us, there's going to be 5 couples in this Airbnb.
That'll be fun.
And we're all pitching in a food budget to go out and get groceries, and then we're going to cook at home. Now, we'll be there for 7 days.
Wow. That'll be fun.
So I think cooking at the Airbnb and not eating out is going to save me a ton of money.
Right.
And the fact that we're all splitting that cost, it works out to be about $85 a night.
Oh my gosh.
And the house is amazing. It has a pool.
Oh, I bet.
Has a pool.
I bet.
Has an outdoor barbecue area.
Oh, that's going to be so fun.
The fact that I'm not going to be out in a huge crowd, right? We're playing in actual stadiums, and it's just a minor league type of baseball tournament, so there's not going to be a lot of people. We can
it's just like spouses pretty much going.
Yeah, we can be sitting in the stands, like social distance that way. But so that's what I have going on, and like I said, you'll be getting an update of all these different expenses and goals in our later YouTube budget recap YouTube videos. If you found this video helpful, please like it and don't forget to subscribe.
Boom.
Done. Done. Mic drop.